Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. How are you all doing on this amazing Thursday? My name is Yana Kasperczak. Especially those of you don't know who I am and perhaps are new to this group, to this community. My name is Yana Kasperczak, and I am your spiritual awakening core energy coach. And it is my soul's purpose to help you get your shit together so you can break free from that mental prison that you find yourself in and build a life in a business that you are not only proud of, but are in love and are excited to wake up to every single day. And today's topic is actually perfect for so many of us. And this is something that I myself have continuously been working on and working through and taking time to understand. And some of you know I love humor and I like doing things that are different than anyone else and thinking outside of the box, where the world wants you to stay inside the box and think inside the box and be just like everybody else, and it's copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, that everyone is the same. And one of the biggest reasons why you are in this group, or you are listening to this podcast of Get Your Shit Together weekly live guidance with myself, Yana Kasperczak, is because you are not like everyone else, or you're tired, or just realize that you have been living your life on somebody else's terms, and that you realize that you are not like everyone else and you don't want to be like anyone else, and you're trying to remold yourself, recreate yourself, rediscover yourself, rebrand yourself, re-love yourself, fall in love with yourself again as you once did when you loved yourself so much and you were just obsessed with you. For some of you, it might have been a really long time ago when you were just a child and you would look in the mirror and you loved yourself. For others, it might be fairly recent, where things have happened in your life little by little, where you lost yourself in the process. And the reason why you lose yourself is because there's such thing as time, and this is what we're talking about. Today's topic is clock blocked. Or your clock feels blocked. Clock blocked, how time stories hijack your dreams. So the first, I will share 5 different stories, 5 different ways how you use your time and how you find yourself feeling drained from using your time in those ways. Some of you might be surprising, some of them you might have already been aware of or will be reminded, or you might have those aha moments. And I want to hear anything that comes up for you as well, especially your aha moments and the connections that you make, or something that you have learned yourself that might be fitting and helpful for everyone else to share as well. And feel free to share any of your own personal time stories where you have experienced the clock block, where you have, let's say, set a time up for yourself to do something and then you couldn't, or someone else hijacked, or you decided to spend that time in other ways, or you realize that the time just ran away from you and you spent your time doing other things that are less important or not important at all. So the first one that comes to mind for me is the one that many of you who have lost yourself throughout your journey of life, you have lost yourself and you feel like your time has been taken away from you, has been stolen from you. And most of you are moms in this group, or that are listening to this podcast. And having kids is one of the things that causes women to feel, and men as well, but it's mostly women. And since I work with women, I always talking directly to women, that when we have our kids, and this is something that my mom said to me one day, and you only understand it when you are in it, or when you are when you passed it, right? When you were in it and now you look back and you reflect. So one of the things that my mom said to me is that, I don't remember exactly the phrase, I just remember it was something along the lines of, when you have kids, your life is no longer your own. All of your time, all of your energy is dedicated to raising those kids. And we don't understand it when we don't have kids. We understand it when we do have kids. And sometimes, like I said, we understand it after the fact, when we look back and we reflect, where my response was, no, I'm still going to have lots of time for myself. I'm still going to focus on myself. But we understand these things. For me, I understood it after having kids, after having gone through breakdowns and meltdowns and my own temper tantrums, right? Where, what about me? And when is my time gonna come? But when you have your kids, your mind is consumed with all that they are, all of their needs, all of their wants, all of their desires. Now, if you don't have kids and you are in a relationship, most of your time is now split, because prior to you being in a relationship, it was just you, yourself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and Irene. That's a great movie to watch, by the way, with Jim Carrey. So all of your time was spent on you, for you. And that was, in a way, the world we're living in. We are being distracted. And this is one of the things I'm learning with my kids, and I am taking charge of this part. That this is our window of opportunity to become one of the best versions of ourselves. And when we miss that window, the next window that opens up is when our kids start to get older and we have more time with ourselves. But that window, like, think about how kids are raised in tribes, or were raised in tribes, and there are still tribes, and how kids are raised in those tribes. How from the day that they're born, the parents' job and the elders' job in the community, because it's not just the parents, it's the community, it's the elders, especially in the community, it's the one that is in charge of the tribe as well, the leader of the tribe. They're not a boss, they're a leader. They approach everything as a leader and not as a boss. And then we grow up and we have a lot of bosses in our life, right? But anyways, when you are being raised in a tribe, from the day that you're born, you get help, guidance, and support. You have access to a support fortress to help you learn and understand who you are, to master yourself, to master your breath, your body, mind, soul, and spirit, to get connected with yourself, with everything that's around you, to know who you are, to understand and discover your purpose. Now, we're living in a modern world, or let's call it industrialized world, where if you think about the industry, you need a lot of people to build things for you. And if everybody is building things for themselves, as they would in a tribe, then you don't have an industry. Then you have a lot of people who are individuals, and you can't manipulate them. You can't control them, because they know themselves, they own themselves, and they have a very clear path. They know their purpose, they know their fulfillment, they know themselves enough to live life on their terms. Whereas in the world we're living in, those prime years are being spent in schools. My kids do go to school, right? And then after school, there's certain way of living your life that becomes, this is where it becomes optional, right? In a way, I mean, I can talk about this topic for hours, but I'm trying to keep it as short as I can. So schools themselves are not bad. They're schools. The rest is outside of school is what we do. This is where we can help our kids to become that version of themselves, to work on themselves, to spend time in personal development and personal growth, and not be wasting their time and giving their time away for free to everyone else, not building somebody else's dreams by playing video games that one person took the time and energy and learned a lot to create a video game, and now the child is spending their time by playing that video game and earning money for that person building their dreams. Or someone took time to create a video and your child is watching those videos and helping that person to earn money through that video, not spending time in the personal development, because most of the kids are not going to watch those type of things. They're not going to be willingly listening to things that are going to better themselves, right? They're going to do things that are more fun for them. And the education systems are not made in fun ways, so it almost like drains the soul and energy out of kids. So that those prime years are spent in different ways now. And this is, we as parents have a choice of how we not only want to, but need to help our kids become that best version of themselves for them. So that way they will be, because the school itself is teaching them a lot of structure, teaching them a lot of things as well. It's not all bad. Everything in life, there's good and bad. There's advantages and disadvantages. So schools themselves teach them structure. It teaches them punctuality, especially in high school, running from one class to another. It teaches them how, not necessarily how to learn, but it teaches them, in a way, how to learn, but not necessarily that's what it teaches them. It teaches them a lot of things. Feel free to share what some of those things are, so that way it helps everyone, including myself, to see the value of schools that you yourself have learned and experienced yourself. So anyways, now this child becomes a parent, and prior to that they had all the time for themselves, and they were spending time becoming a better version of themselves based on the people that were around them in school and outside of school. And now they got married or didn't get married. However, the structure of families now is very different from how it was back in the day. But I'm still traditional, and I believe traditions are there for a reason and not for a season. But I also understand that it does not work for everyone. It does not even feel authentic to everyone. Just because it does to me does not mean that everyone is the same. This is me, and everybody else has their own identity, has their own mindset, has their own belief systems, is an entirely different person. So, however you have a family, you become a parent, and now your time is not spent just on yourself, it's spent on your kids. Or if you are in a relationship, now your time is shared with the other person. You start to think about that other person's needs, wants, desires, and now the time that you were spending on yourself, which was 100%, is now divided on 50. So 50% of your time is spent on your partner. You had a kid, now you split that, 33%, right? If my math is correct. I'm not a mathematician here, okay? But it wouldn't be exactly like 33. It's like 33.33 or 333 or whatever. 33% is spent on this person, 33% is spent on your child, and 33% is spent on you. But some women, they take their 33% and they divide that even less by, 50% on their child, and then 30% on their partner, and 20% on themselves. And there's some that don't even spend much time, even less time for themselves. Now you add another kid on that. So your time starts to be split and shared among all these. And this is what starts to feel like a circus, like you're juggling clocks at the circus. And this is like, it's like a no-brainer why mothers especially start to lose their identity of who they are, because they went from spending 100% of their time on themselves, with themselves, to now thinking about somebody else. And when you think about somebody else's needs, wants, and desires, then some of those start to seep in, and you start to think that they're also yours, and this is what makes you you. And then sharing that time with other, kids, pets, friends, families, you split all that time and you put everybody else's needs, wants, and desires, because you were also raised to be a good girl, to put other people's first, to think about everybody else before you think of yourself. And it's a great mold, but it comes a time where it's no longer serving you anymore. So you start to split your time with everyone, and by doing that, you lose yourself in the process. Because you don't even have very much time for yourself. You lose your identity. You lose the things that made you you, because the word tainted comes to mind, but not in a negative way, even though it could be in a negative way, but it gets tainted. It gets mixed up with everybody else's needs, wants, and desires, and it's no wonder why you feel confused with who you are, because you have been sharing who you are with others, and you have been taking on everybody else's identities and trying to mold yourself to be that version for everybody else, to help everybody else's needs, wants, and desires, for each kid individually, for your partner, for your family, for your friends, for everyone. So now you're left with not knowing who you are, why you are, and feeling like you don't have any time for yourself. Or if you do, you don't even know how to use that time for yourself. So that's one way how we not only have these time stories and clock blocks, or feel like our clocks are blocked, that we are confused. And one thing I will continue to say and remind everyone is that see how somebody else that is your mentor, that is your coach, that is your guide, that is someone that you look up to, someone that you are learning from, see where they are in their life and how they are and who they are in their life. And if you like what you see, take a moment to find out how can you follow that path that they have followed, and if it suits and fits you and aligns with you, to help you get to where you want to get to that much faster, instead of you trying to figure all these things out on your own. I didn't figure all these things out on my own. I say these things because I have done these things myself. I have hired coaches. I have hired experts. I have followed and listened to mentors, and I continue to do that, because once you start and you see the value and you feel the value of having that cheerleader and that supporter in your corner, you would not want to go back to just being on your own and trying to figure things out on your own. And investment in yourself, whether it's a financial or time investment or both, is the smartest investment that you can make. And many of you are aware of that, because you have invested in yourselves, time-wise or money-wise, and you felt the difference that investment has made into your life. Okay, so another time story is time scarcity, when many women and mothers feel like there is never enough time to accomplish all of their tasks and all of their responsibilities. This narrative of time scarcity can create feelings of stress, overwhelm, and inadequacy as they struggle to balance work, family, and personal obligations. I wrote a couple of these things down. I wrote just 5 down, but I already shared one, just the broadest one that I didn't even have time to compress the description of this time block. So with this one, with time scarcity, this one is a pretty big one. This is why I started off in the way I did, because this time scarcity leads into, now you have all of these things that you're balancing, you're juggling, and you have a time story that I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time to do that. Whether it's for your personal care, self-care, or for your self-love practices, or for your health practices, or for your personal growth and your personal development, or even certain things when it comes to your family, your household maintenance. So I'll give you an example from my personal life right now. Some of you might have already seen that I every weekend I share. I take time with my husband to create meals for us for the week, to cook meals for us for the week, breakfast and lunch. So there's meal prepping times. The other thing I shared just today in the stories is I bought a bunch of plants and plants, and some of them I already had. From the garden that need to be taken out every year and planted. So this year I decided those ones I'm going to plant ahead of time, because we never seem to get just like 1 or 2 flowers that come out, because they take time to grow. So I needed to plant those, and I have never done anything like that in my life. I typically would just go outside. This is the area where I want to plant, and put the bulbs or the seeds in the area where I want to plant and just plant them. But this year I decided to plant them ahead of time, so that way I can put them in the soil and plant them, and some of them sell them as well. Why not? Multiple income streams here, okay? Planting that seed for you all. It's not just one income stream, multiple income streams. That is what helps us to have potential incomes or flows of money throughout all of the seasons, and doing the things that you enjoy as well, and sharing it with the world. So anyways, planting those indoors, and I've been saving yogurt containers for some time. Even had questions from my husband, how many yogurt containers do you need? Don't you think you have enough? I'm like, I don't think I will. And I was right. I didn't have enough. So anyways, that I've been wanting to do for some time. So I've been waiting when the soil becomes available to buy, and then got the soil, and then it's figuring out when would I have time to plant them, and catching myself in my own time story that I don't have time for this, that I have prior commitments to my business, right? These live videos, the scheduled calls that I have with my partner, with the Sacred Circle, with the live videos, the podcast that I do with Bethany, and another podcast that I do with Anna now, and then other things that need to get done in the business, and then the coaching calls as well. So and then also time for, having those conversations in the messenger and staying up to date with those as much as I can, juggling all those things for the business, and then in the family, right, planting those seasonal things as well, because when the season comes around, it's not like I can put a lot of these things off. I gotta do them as quickly as I can, within reason. And then we're renovating the house. There's things that only I can do, and they need to be done like ASAP, and figuring that out. And then on top of that, my kids are home, or our kids are home this week because of March break, and finding time to spend with them as well. And at the same time, showing them, teaching them the work ethic, that no matter what, I have these things put in place. I have a business to run and make sure every wheel is greased and continues to go. So I find myself this week especially struggling with my time stories. But when I say struggling, I don't struggle in the way of I can't function and I don't get things done. I struggle in the ways of they're coming up and it's going to take me some time to hear them, understand them, and then question them, coach myself through them. And if that's not enough, then reach out to one of my coaches. And then go and get things done. Certain things, it's really quickly and easy and go get it done, but understanding where is it coming from. And what I recognize, the loudest of them all, is that I am finding myself sacrificing my own self-care and self-love practices because of all these other extra things I need to get done. So instead of me sacrificing those things, and especially becoming aware of this is what I'm sacrificing, because certain things, sacrifices are necessary. Period. We can't escape sacrificing. They're necessary. And to me, and to each and every one of you, a question is, what sacrifices are worth it right now, today? On which ones aren't? What can I sacrifice today? And what am I not willing to sacrifice? So for me, my self-care, self-love practices, I'm not sacrificing those. I have done that more than enough throughout my life. I ain't doing it again. That's no longer who I am. So what do I need to do to make sure that those things that I say are important to me are actually going to be done? And some days it means turning my Netflix off. During my morning time, where I allow myself to watch Netflix and enjoy Netflix as I'm cleaning the kitchen, or as I'm going through my notebook, or as I'm doing something, multitasking, okay? This is what it's called. So instead of me multitasking, I'm going to just focus on this task right here and do that. And when that's done, what's going to be next? And allowing myself time, as yesterday we were talking about procrastination, allow myself time to procrastinate. And what's the word that I use? I wrote it down. Procrastinate with purpose. Reminding myself of what I call it. My procrastinate with purpose is doing something else that is important to me, but not as important. Something that makes me feel good doing it, and also will help me feel like I've done something. So planting these bulbs was actually procrastinating with purpose, because there's other things I need to get done with the renovations, and now it's tax season, so I'm avoiding going in that direction and getting taxes done, because, as I was saying yesterday in the podcast, it's because it's going to take some time to have that conversation with our tax person, to update him with everything, and plan for the next year. But the doing part, that's like really simple and easy. So I'm going to be ready to do that probably either later today or tomorrow. Not putting it off for too long. So time scarcity, normal. Taking the time to identify what's coming up for you, why, and questioning it. The next one that I put on here, one of the things that I talk about quite a bit is perfectionism. We often put things off to do because we don't think we have all the things that we need for the outcome to be perfect. So we avoid or we procrastinate, and we feel like we don't have enough time for that. And women especially may feel pressured to meet unrealistic standards of productivity and efficiency, leading them to believe that every moment must be maximized and every task must be completed flawlessly, that it must be perfect. This pursuit of perfection can drain their energy and suck away their motivation as they constantly strive to meet unattainable expectations. Now, those expectations come either from themselves or from society. Those, like I was saying, for me, they're seasonal sometimes, or most of the time as well. With this season, I'm responsible for a lot, especially me being at home and working from home. It's important for me to find time within my week to get certain things done and balancing, especially with now the spring coming about, and gardening is one, indoors, not gardening, outdoors, and then opening up the koi pond that we have. What else? I have a whole list. I don't have it all in front of me, but getting everything done outside, getting things done inside as well to make sure that we're ready to set up the patio and all that kind of stuff as well. But prior to doing that, we got to refinish our deck as well. So there's a lot of things that are on the go and to-do lists, as you have a lot of your to-do lists as well. And this is why it's important to have these systems in place, the schedules in place, essentially figuring out how you want to manage your time so you don't feel so triggered and overwhelmed by these things that you have to do. And here's the interesting part, is that the reason why having those plans and figuring out the schedule for yourself and managing your own time each day and each week, especially when it comes to the seasons, right? Like I was saying, all of these things that I gotta do, and I have a list of those things, is that if we don't have that list, we can find ourselves feeling overwhelmed because those things are spiraling in our minds and we're not clear on what those are that we have to do, that we need to do. And because they're spiraling out, each one, it makes me think of like the earth going around the sun, that it might feel like it's going to take forever for us to do that one task, that one thing that we don't even know what it is. And until we become clear on, this is earth, this is the sun, this is how long it takes the earth to go around the sun. I can't go through my hand. For how long it takes for the earth to go around the sun. And then we become very clear on what it is, why it is, and how long it's going to take. And it becomes so much easier once we get this chaos out of our heads and onto paper to see, like I said, this is what it is, this is why it is, this is why you got to do it, or perhaps donate it for someone else to do, delegate somebody else to do it, because there's certain things I'm going to be delegating my kids to do, especially today. And then, when are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? You become very clear, and then put that into your schedule. This one here, this expectation to be a super mom, that you're supposed to be a superhuman and have your shit together and know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and run your family business. Your family is your first business. Run your family as an expert, as if you know exactly what you need to be doing at every single moment. In the cultural glorification of the supermom who sacrifices her own needs and desires for the sake of her family can lead women to prioritize caregiving and household duties above all else. As I was saying earlier, this is one of the things that I recognized myself doing, and that I was, nope, not doing that again, because I know exactly where that's going to lead me. It's not going to make me feel good about myself. Definitely won't. This narrative can drain women of their willpower and desires as they neglect their own well-being in service of others. So the next one, this one might be an interesting one to put under the time drain, But it's not just the time drain, it's also the energy drain, where it takes your even willpower away. And that is comparison. Comparing yourself to someone else. Some standard that you have perhaps observed in somebody else's life or behavior or character, and you have assumed that this is who they are or how they do things, and you start to compare yourself in negative ways, and you drain your energy and your willpower, and you also spend time thinking about somebody else instead of spending that time and thinking about yourself in a positive way, because this is where you're also thinking about yourself in a negative way and not necessarily in a positive way. But you're able to compare yourself or your life or your business to others in a positive way, in a constructive way, and not in a destructive way. But most people know how to do that, how to compare in a destructive way and not in a constructive way. But it's something that you can relearn how to do. So social media, when it comes to comparison, social media and societal pressures often force women as a culture to compare one another, where women feel compelled to measure their worth and success against others, against one another. It turns women against each other as well. And I see this, and it really, not in this group, but I see it outside, and I hear it in the coaching conversations, where it's heartbreaking. It really is. We're meant to be a community. We're meant to help each other thrive and not cause each other to feel like we're surviving. This constant comparison can erode self-confidence and diminish motivation, as women feel like they are constantly falling short of unrealistic standards. And those are the standards that they have allowed someone else in their life to set for them unconsciously, because nobody chooses those things consciously, or they have chosen those standards themselves, consciously or unconsciously, and never went back to edit them, to reflect and change those standards, or even took time to identify what those standards are that they have for themselves. The last one is internalized expectations, where women may internalize societal expectations about what it means to be a good mother, what it means to be a good wife, what it means to be a good friend, or what it means to be a good professional, good business owner, leading them to believe that they must always be selfless, nurturing, and available, especially with phones going off and having that sense of responsibility that you must respond to everyone and to everything and their demand and their want and their messages. And you are giving your time away, and you're not living your life on your terms. You're living your life on the terms of everyone else and your devices as well. These internalized expectations can drain women of their willpower and desires, as they prioritize fulfilling external obligations over pursuing their own passions and goals, and feeling so tired and drained that you don't even have energy for yourself at the end of the day. One of the things that the most successful people do, and they don't become successful overnight, it takes time to become successful. It takes years. That, especially those that have a full-time job, they know that at the end of the day, they're not going to have the energy to do the things that bring them joy, things that they're passionate about, or to do things towards reaching their goals and their dreams and their desires. So what they do is that they're disciplined enough. And discipline is the ultimate act of self-love. So they have learned this truth through experience. They might not know exactly why they feel amazing when they practice discipline in their life, but they have learned how to be disciplined and disciplined enough to wake up early, to work towards their dreams, their goals, their desires, their passions before everybody else is up, before everybody else starts to hijack their time, especially those that have children. And I know firsthand that when the kids are home, I don't have very much time left, because it's always like, mom, 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 mom. Everybody needs me. And the more kids you have, the more of you they're gonna want and need. And it's not personal, it's because they're also learning. And it's part of the process. So at the end, these time stories, they can add a lot of weight, and they can cause women to feel drained and powerless. But overcoming them, this is where each and every one of us is able to be powerful. And we can't become powerful, we wouldn't even know what that is if we haven't experienced the opposite. The opposite is when we feel powerless, where we understand the value and the importance of what power feels like to us and what it means to us as well. And we each have our own definition of what powerful means to us. And it's important to take a moment to figure out what that is for you as well. Because what powerful means to me, it sometimes changes throughout the day. This week, to me, what powerful means is being available to my kids and for my kids. Why? Because before I know it, they're going to be moving out and having their own families. So this time is also short. It's not permanent, it's temporary. So I don't want you to feel bad that your kids are hijacking your time. I want you to want to spend time with your kids, but to spend time with your kids in healthy ways and teach them healthy ways as well, by being the role model, but not telling them what to do, but by showing them what to do. If you don't want your kids to be on the screen all the time, check yourself and see, maybe you are the one that's spending a lot of time on the screen, and how can you not do that, so that way your kids can mimic you. So I see Laura is on here with me as well. Thank you, Laura, for being on here with me and sharing and commenting. I'm gonna open up the comments so I can respond to them on my computer. Opened up too big, so that way I can see them all. There we go. Gotta just mute myself, so this way I can see the comment better. Otherwise on my phone it just keeps flipping back and forth. It's taking a minute to open them up. It's a little bit slow on mine. I think my computer is getting full. So Laura said, as the first comment, everyone in the tribe looks out for the children. The children are hugged and loved. They are taught to dress themselves and pack their own things because some tribes were nomadic. The leader of the children emerge among the children themselves. The children will naturally choose their own leaders. Yeah. And then now in countries, we feel like we choose our own leaders, but we actually don't. Now the comments don't even want to move up at all. Let me refresh this page. Okay, yeah, now I see it. Choose their own leaders. It's such a beautiful culture founded on community and connection. And that part has, because you can't, the word enslave comes to mind. You can't enslave the world and have the world work for you and do all the things that you want them to do if everybody is happy, if when everybody is at peace. And this is what the assumption is, right? That everybody is working for themselves. But this is where the opportunity is for all of us. That, as an example, with what Anna and I are doing and building with Empathy Unicorn Academy, with a lot of your helps, with those of you in the group, with Bethany helping out, and Bethany being part of the business by doing what she does with us. It's our opportunity to make the world a better place and to create such a community of like-minded women who are not only healing themselves and growing themselves spiritually, but who are becoming the best version of themselves and who are learning how to put themselves first and then helping everyone else around them. This is like the definition of paying it forward. In order for all of us to pay something forward, right? And paying forward, the idea of that is, let's say you're in a drive-through and you pay for the meal of the person behind you. That in order for you to be able to pay it forward, you have to earn that money so you can pay for somebody else's meal. And in order for you to help and support another woman, you need to learn how to do that for yourself first, which means you need to learn how to take care of yourself first so you can help others to do that as well. And then Laura said, so true, when you lose yourself like that, you don't even know what you want anymore. If you ever did, my experience anyways, getting to know yourself isn't so bad. Getting to know yourself is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves. This, to me, it's like the epitome of personal development, where you get to open up one-of-a-kind book that nobody will ever get to fully read and understand the contents. That is Laura. That is Rebecca. That is Bethany. That is Yana. That is Anna. That is you. And this is the book that all of us would love reading, but too many are terrified to open and read because they don't know what the contents are. And the biggest fears are coming from the stories and the traumas that they have gathered over their lifetime, that they're scared to relive again, thinking that they won't be able to survive. But then they're not allowing themselves to live their life to their full potential because of all these fears. We're meant to be fearless. Back to the tribe times. Kids were raised in a natural way. And the natural way was when they're scared of something. That fear is actual curiosity. And they would lean into that. They wouldn't run away from that. They would lean into their fear and learn from it and understand it and know that there's a better version of themselves on the other side of it. And then Laura said, so glad you're talking on time management today. I started a new class today, a week before I expected. Ooh, starting early. I love that. So all my plans about working ahead have flown out the window. So I'm curious to hear, how has this video helped you so far with jumping ahead in the time management and starting a new class? I'd love to hear how it has helped you so far and how it might help you later. Because when we hear something, we take that into the next day and or the next week, and new realizations come up. So anytime that there's something new comes up, feel free to come back to this video. You can find it in the search bar in the group and comment and add. to your realization. Laura said, we have to get the chaos out of our head and on paper. I love that, Yana. Thank you. I call it brain dumping. And it feels good to go number 2. Let's just say it that way, right? And otherwise we feel like there's chaos happening inside our stomachs and brewing and brewing. And then when we go number 2, we feel better. And when it comes to our minds, it's the same concept where there's just a lot of shit spiraling around. And we don't know what's going on. It feels like it's brewing. It's just bubbling up. Need to get that out on paper and see it for what it is in front of us in ink. And then Laura said, our society does not exactly foster uniqueness. So we have to remember how important it is to honor our own uniqueness as well as that of others. 100%. Our society, now let me finish. It's part of what makes our world and our lives so beautiful and amazing. Our uniqueness is 100%. Our world, our society applauds obeying, following the rules, being one and the same, being part of the herd. It does not applaud being different and unique. I guess I have this piece of wood in my hand. I'll use this as an example. So this is a slab of the wood that we are using for the shelf that I'll be sharing about later by the front door. And this is a small piece. This piece was 19 inches wide and 9 feet long. And we're making a shelf out of that. So this is a little piece that's left. And I love wood. And I noticed that I was feeling a little anxious about cutting this wood. When it comes to renovations and things, there's no anxiety, there's no nerves. I feel confident in anything that it's all figureoutable, it's all fixable. But with this wood, I was feeling anxious about it because this is one of a kind. There's never going to be another one like it that I will find. And I fell in love with this piece of wood that is just so beautiful and so magnificent that I also feel like this is a heart right here hiding in the piece. And I literally just noticed. So that's why I was feeling so anxious about it, because, and I'll connect it to the world, that the world wants us to be just like pine tree. A pine tree is practically identical within itself, or oak tree. They're practically identical within themselves. Yeah, there's a little bit differences, but they're not going to have, I think it's called splating, this black lines throughout, and look so different and unique on the inside and has different designs. But each and every one of us is meant to be so different and unique. Yet the world wants us to be copy paste. And that's why there are certain rules or certain structures, and not to be giving into the fear mongerly that's going around, but, and I'm trying not to say certain words so that way nothing gets flagged, but it's not, before things get better, things need to get worse. So we each need to learn who we are, why we are, and fight for ourselves, and then for our brothers and sisters, and for our offsprings, to allow us to stay as unique as an individual as we can, without being forced to just be another mold, without being told what to do. So still have lots of this wood left. We will be able to make another shelf out of that, and I'm super happy about that. But that's one of the things that I am excited and at the same time nervous about, now going to that shelf and sanding it and making it nice and pretty and beautiful and staining it. But I'm going to use this wood to see the stain I'm going to use or just the sealant, and figure out how we're going to go about it. So that's why I have it in my hand. So I do that today, and I work through this anxiety, this fear that I have with having to finish project, I guess, that shelf, because it's not that I've never done it, it's that it's just perfectionism. I want it to be perfect, and I want it to be beautiful, and I don't want how do I put it, you know, that chaos, that spiraling. Right now it feels like I don't know which way to go, which direction to take. Am I going to use this product? I'm going to use this one or that one. I have quite a few options, and not knowing, that is what is causing me to feel lack of clarity. And I think it's time for me to do it. Mind you, we only put up the shelf this weekend, but I'm ready to go and tackle this project and get it done. Okay, and then the last thing that Laura says, available. That's so good to point out, Yana. We have to set priorities because there is only so much time available in any given period of time. Yeah, 100%. And when you said set priorities, the word boundaries came to mind as well, because sometimes we also need to set boundaries. For me, as a coach, that's something that I needed to learn, and it was uncomfortable initially, but I wanted to be available to everyone all the time, but I needed to learn how to balance it all, how to make sure that I'm the one that's not feeling like I'm losing in the end. That, wait, one second, Ethan. How I'm the one that in the end benefits from it, just like everybody else benefits, but so do I. It needs to be fair, it needs to be equal, but I do need to put myself as priority and make sure that I'm good and that I'm available, but within reason. Ethan, please don't hit that. That's where I have my camera. So figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and the way to do it is just to play around with it, right? And to finally make the decision and take the leap forward and take action, just like with this wood. I feel like I wasn't ready to cut it because I've only had that wood to look at for about a week. And I didn't feel like I was ready to cut that wood. I wanted to spend more time with it. But my husband's like, nope, we're doing this. We're doing the shelf. So let's do it. Let's go. And it was just time to, okay, let's cut it. Let's make that shelf. And then figure out everything as we go. So, and then Laura says, it's a beautiful piece of wood. I love wood too. I also really love trees. Oh, me too. I love trees, but I find I love trees in this state more because I have it in my house and I'm able to spend time with it and sit with it and have it. I mean, I have this is wood right here. I have another board that I use here. This was initially a cutting board, but I decided I am not using it as a cutting board. I'm using this for me. So this is like extra table that I pull out when I pull out my drawer, and I put this piece of wood in there, and it becomes a shelf for me. Then this one, actually, I'm really excited to figure out what I'm gonna do, and I would actually love ideas from you all. If you can tell me, what would you do with this piece of wood? How would you use it and utilize it? But let me just get to it. So this is a piece of bark, okay, and as you can see, it was burnt. I saved it from the fire because when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I need to have it. So I took it out of the fire. So it's literally burnt on top, and on the back it's not. It's just a little bit, as you can see, but it's still good. And it has a little hole. I'm like, oh, maybe I can put it on my desk. Keep in mind that it's making mess, right? On my table, as you know, makes sense it would. I'll put a pen in here as like a pen holder, but I'm like, no, then the ink and blah blah blah. But anyways, right now I just have it on in one of my trays to keep it nice and safe and protected. And I don't know, I was thinking of just putting things on top of that, but I don't want to damage the wood, so this is where just having it as a display piece, but not touching it too much, because not only will it crumble, but it can also leave its mark behind. And then Laura said boundaries, definitely, and also priorities help us set realistic expectations. Yeah. Identifying what our priorities are and why, and then being realistic by tackling them and setting those expectations about our priorities, about our goals and dreams, about ourselves, about things that we want to experience as well. So that way we can reach them as well, right? Which is kind of like goals. Anyways, that is all that I have for you all on today's topic. My books just fell. Oopsie, almost. I'm like sweating now. They scared me. On today's topic of clock blocked, how time stories hijack your dreams. And as you can imagine, they can hijack them pretty harshly and pretty drastically. So if you want to reach your dreams, as I know you do, figure your shit out. Get your shit together. Figure out what you want, what you don't want. Start maybe with what you don't want, because it's then easier to see what you do want. And what do you need to do? And what do you want to do to help you get there? And as always, don't go at it alone, because it's not fun. It really is not fun to do anything by ourselves. It feels lonelier than it needs to. So pick someone that can help you, that can be your support on this journey of yours, and go at it together. Whether it's for a little bit of time, right, for a season, or for a lifetime. And only through going at it together can you figure out how long it's going to be. It's like the partner that you choose to marry, choose to live with. Many people stay with the one that they have chosen because they learn along the way that that is the perfect partner for them in more ways than just one, while others had a different approach to it. And others weren't even meant to be, right? So other than that, that is all that I have for each and every one of you. Laura says, thank you, Yana. You're welcome. Thank you for being on here with me, Laura. I know you got a busy schedule. You got a lot of things on your plate as well. And hey, Rebecca. Rebecca says, I just talked to my mom about boundaries 5 minutes ago. That must have been an interesting conversation. And then Laura says, great advice. I've been too independent too long now. It's good to be independent, but it's also good to rely on other people. It makes the journey so much easier. We all need a partner in crime. We all need a partner in crime. And when we do it alone, we can only do it alone for so long. And then what? A lot of things start to happen and start to fall apart or feel like they're falling apart. So it is important to find someone that can help you with it, through it, in the ways that you need. Other than that, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you find this community, this group of Heal the Unicorn, emotional healing and spiritual growth for women helpful, then I would love to ask you to invite your friends that you know would benefit and would love to be part of this community, because perhaps this is something that they are in need of as well. And we can start off with just saying or sharing this video, and they will be able to watch it when they join the group. But otherwise, I will see you all either next week on Thursday, today's Thursday, on Thursday for another Get Your Shit Together weekly live guidance with myself, Yana Kasperczak, at 11:30-ish a.m. or on Monday for card reading, same time, same place in this group. And until next time we see each other, have an amazing the rest of your day, an amazing weekend. I got to go eat and play with this wood, play with my wood. Have a great day, everyone. And Laura says have a great day, everyone. So you too as well. And until we see each other next time.
Bye
Everybody. Bye, guys. I have a message saying slow connection right over the finish button that it won't let me click it until it's done. There we go. Okay, now official bye. Until next time. Bye.